Hello again, YouTube. Today is time to talk about Death Knights and the changes that they have in patch 5.0.4. So let's get into the skills. Remember, this is before you take any type of spec, any kind of spec. This is just the base skills that you get, and the glyphs and the talents. That's what we're gonna talk about in these videos. So to start, we have Death Strike. Death Strike is pretty similar to before. I think it's actually the same thing. It probably does more weapon damage than it used to. Actually, that wasn't the first skill. Let's go back one. Anti-magic shell is the same thing. For those wondering if Unholy gets a more powerful one, I'm pretty sure Unholy does get a more powerful one, but there is a glyph which makes it so it consumes all the damage. It absorbs all the damage, so until the limit. So then we have a really cool new skill called Control Undead. This skill lets you control undead just like it is. The only undeads that you can control is boss undeads, and it's really cool. Like, I was leveling a second Death Knight for Recruit a Friend, and I was tanking through dungeons, and on all the Wrath of Lich King dungeons, or pretty much almost all of them, I got to control an undead and have an undead control the whole time, and they were hitting so hard because they were elites, because they were in dungeons. So this is a really cool ability, really fun ability. Now, I don't know if we're gonna see the use of this much in the next expansion, because I don't think there's much undeads in Pandaria. Moving on, Army of the Dead is the same thing. 10-minute cooldown. It still takes 1 blood, 1 unholy, and 1 frost. Dark Simulacrum is the same thing. Takes No, it's not. It's not the same thing, is it? I'm not sure. I think it used to not take 20 runic power. I guess it takes 20 runic power now. I don't remember if it did or not. Then Blood Boil is the same thing. Yeah, I think it does a little bit more damage now. Death and Decay, the same thing. But I think, yes, it does a little bit more damage than it used to. Blood Presence is not buffed yet, but it's gonna be buffed in the next build. It's gonna give you 25% what is it called, 25% stamina, and it might be just full blood, but I think it's gonna be base 25% stamina. That means that it's really gonna be pretty much like a bear form for Death Knights. It's gonna be pretty cool for PvP, especially, I think. Of course, for tanking, because that's what it's meant for. Then we have Death Coil. Death Coil is the same thing. Yep, same thing. Blood Strike, this is the most pointless ability. This is just there so you can level the first 2 levels from level 55 to level 57, I think, or 58, something like that. This is really a worthless ability. You guys tell me if you ever use this. I never ever use this ability. This gets replaced by Blood Strike now when you take Blood Spec. Death Gate, yeah, not even need to talk about that. Chains of Ice is the same thing. Death Grip has a 25-second cooldown. There's nothing that can reduce its cooldown. I don't think so. I don't think there's one talent at all or one glyph that reduces the cooldown. It's a 25-second cooldown now, no matter what. So that's kinda a bummer. Death Strike, I think, yeah, it's the same thing that before. Let's read it actually, because I'm not sure. Focuses dark power into a strike that deals 235% weapon damage plus 1323 to an enemy and heals you for 20% of the damage you have sustained during the preceding 5 seconds. So yes, it did change a lot. Minimum of at least 7% of your maximum health. This cannot be parried. This attack cannot be parried. That's new too. So yeah, this is a really cool attack, and it heals you for 20% of the damage that you do over the next 5 seconds. That means that for like Frost or Unholy, this is gonna be very powerful. If you do this and then blow up a small cooldown for the next 5 seconds, you're gonna get healed by a lot. That's really good. I actually didn't read the skill. I should have. Mind Freeze, it has a 15-second cooldown and is now free. So it's a lost and a win, but all the interrupts in the game have been nerfed to a 15 or a 12-second cooldown anyway, so it's not really much of a loss. It's more of a win. And Power Runic Weapon is the same thing. I think it generates 20. The part that says generating 25 runic power is new. I don't remember having that with the old one, but it might have been like that already. Necrotic strike is different now. A vicious strike that deals 150% weapon damage. Before I continue, it takes 1 death rune now. It doesn't take 1 unholy anymore. Absorb the next 9,733 healing received by the target and clouds the target's mind, slowing their casting speed by 50 and 25% on players. Last 10 seconds. So it's really powerful and it's really good. Really good. I think it's even better than before, probably. Like before, yeah, you could stack it forever and ever, but now it's like stronger. I don't know. Okay, Frost presence change, so it strengthens you with the presence of Frost, increasing runic power regeneration by 20% and reduces the duration of effects that remove control of your character by 20%. This is all types of CC. That's really good. Only one presence. That part I don't need to read. Okay, Outbreak instantly is the same thing, so I don't need to read that. Horn of Winter is not the same thing. Actually, it now increases attack power by 10%. Yes, attack power. Path of Frost, same thing. Asthma and Fortitude is the same thing. Yeah, same thing. Pestilence, same thing. Icy Touch, same thing. Plague Strike, same thing. Raise Ally, same thing. Raise Dead, same thing. I think so. I think it used to take an unholy. Now it doesn't. Now it's just instant. I don't remember if it took an unholy or not, but I think it used to. Oh, Raise Ally actually is not the same thing. It takes runic 30 runic power instead of 50 runic power, so that's pretty good. I actually just noticed that the other day running dungeons really fast and my healer died, so I had to rest him really fast, and I was like, I don't have 50 runic power, but I'm still gonna continue spamming it until I have it. So, and actually it worked right off. I was like, whoa, this takes less runic power now. Rune forging, I don't know if we're even getting new rune forging enchant. I hope so. Actually, I didn't get it much into the Death Knight in the beta, so I don't know much of the changes. It's like kind of all new to me. I'm just been noticing things while leveling the second one. Strangulate is the same thing. It doesn't have like cooldown reduction from the blood spec anymore, but in the talents you can change that for Asphyxiate, which it has a 1 minute cooldown and stuns and silences the target for 5 seconds. I actually got the shit kicked out of me with this spell when I was playing my mage the other day, or it was actually earlier. Yeah, I pretty fucked up with that skill, but I still think personally actually I'm not gonna talk about the talents yet. Unholy Presence is different too. You're infused with Unholy Fury, increasing attack speed and rune regeneration by 10% and movement speed by 15%. Okay, so this is different. You may say, where did my 0.5 second global cooldown went? Well, Death Knights all either have a 0.5 or a 1 second. I'm not completely sure what is exactly, but it's one of the two. It's either a 1 second global cooldown or a 0.5. But all Death Knights does base for all the specs. And the passives, you have Blood Plague, Frost Fever. On a Pale Horse, everyone gets on a Pale Horse, so yes, everyone gets on a Pale Horse. 20% increased mount speed for all the old specs of Death Knights. Parry, of course, and play specialization, of course. Actually, I don't even know if you get this if you don't take a spec. Increases your primary attribute by 5% while wearing plate. So pretty much strength for all of them. Frost grants strength, and Holy grants strength. Blood grants stamina. What if you're nothing? Just do you even get that? Okay, before we make this too long, let's get into the talents. We have Roaring Blood, Plague Leech, and Unholy Blight. Now, I have not used Plague Leech. I don't think that's a very good trade-off. Let's read it. Draw forth the infection from an enemy, consuming your Blood Plague and Frost Fever diseases on the target to activate a random fully depleted rune as a death rune. Now, here's the thing. Most skill, like you want to have your diseases on the target all the time. Like, it's really I think the good time that this would be useful would be when you want to do a big switch in arena and you want to CC the target, so you don't want any diseases on the target, so you consume the diseases on the target so you can put it on someone else. Yes, that would be nice now that I think about it, but any other than that, I wouldn't use this to continue on the same target, because you want to have your diseases on the target all the time. The next one is Rolling Blood. Rolling Blood is one that it makes tanking really, really smooth, and I really like this. And I think I still remember back in Wrath when Blood Boil will actually refresh your I think it was Blood Boil. No, it was Pestilence still. Pestilence will refresh your diseases, and I really missed that in the beginning of Cataclysm because I was so used to it, and now this makes it even easier to keep up your diseases when tanking on everyone, because your Blood Boil triggers Pestilence. And also, if you're only attacking one target, if you're single target, killing single target, it refreshes the diseases on the target. So that's really cool, and I could actually take that even on PvP, because so I could easily keep my diseases on without actually had to reapplying them, or like had to Pestilence onto someone else and then Pestilence back onto that person. I don't have to do that anymore if I pick Rolling Blood. But for PvP, I've been picking Unholy Blight, even though I'm probably gonna go for Rolling Blood now that I think about it. But this is also a really good skill that surrounds the Death Knight with a vile swarm of unholy insects for 10 seconds. And the main reason why I picked this, not so much for the damage, I'm not sure if it does a lot of damage, or but I do pick it because it's a cooldown to keep your diseases. For example, yes, I will apply my diseases normally with in a PvP situation with Chains of Ice, and then with a Plague Strike when I have the chance. And then no, sorry, my first priority is actually Outbreak. I would use Outbreak. Then if I need to reapply him, I will use Chains of Ice, which I normally do use Chains of Ice anyway, so I will keep my Frost Fever up anyway. But my Plague Strike is a little bit like once in a while, only when I need to refresh it. And this actually gives me an extra cooldown, so I can better manage my diseases. So that's what I was picking this. But now that I know that Rolling Blood refreshes diseases, I'm probably gonna go for Rolling Blood, even though this doesn't take any runes, but it's a 1.5 minute cooldown. Then we have Lichborn, Anti-Magic Zone, and Purgatory. Lichborn is still my choice for PvP. I mean, Anti-Magic Shell, Lichborn, you're freaking full health again. I couldn't pass that up. Anti-Magic Zone is a really, really good pick too. It's really actually hard to pick between these two, but Lichborn still wins in my opinion over it. Is a lot stronger than it used to be, though. It absorbs a lot more. And then we have Purgatory, which is a really, really, really good cheat death ability, which when you die, pretty much, you get a bubble. And this bubble will absorb all the damage. And if you get more healing absorbed, if the bubble gets more healing than damage absorbed in the time that the bubble lasts, then you won't die. But if you take more damage than healing when the bubble is up, you will die. So let's get into the next tier. In the next tier, we have Death Advance, Chillblains, and Asphyxiate. Death Advance will give you a permanent movement speed increase. So you passively move 10% faster, and movement improvement effects may not reduce you below 70% normal speed. So that's really, really good. And it also has an active effect of a 30-second cooldown, which you gain 30% movement speed, and you may not be slowed below 100% of normal movement speed for 6 seconds. So it's not a full-on freedom, but it's like a half freedom, and it still is a sprint. So it's like a half sprint, half freedom. And I really like this skill, even for PvE, because for example, when I'm tanking, I wanna go fast. I just use this and I go fast every 30 seconds. So yeah. Chill Blades is also a really good pick. Actually, this whole tier is a really good pick. Whatever you pick is gonna be good. Victims of your frost fever disease are chilled, reducing movement speed by 50% for 10 seconds, and your chains of ice immobilizes the target for 3 seconds. So this used to be frost only, just like Death Advance used to be unholy only, but Death Advance was a little bit different. Chill Blades kept the same, and any Death Knight can use it. And I think it's really hard to pick between these two. Really hard. By the way, the passive movement speed of Death Advance does stack with the movement speed from your unholy presence. Asphyxiate is, like I told you before, it replaces Strangulate. It makes a 1 minute cooldown and stuns and silences the target at the same time for 5 seconds. Really good ability. Then in the level 60 tier we have a lot of survivability. So we have Death Pack now. Death Pack, the difference with Death Pack now is that it has a 2 minute cooldown. It used to have a 3 minute cooldown, I believe. It was either Death Pack or Raise Ally that used to have a 3 minute cooldown. One of them two, but I don't remember which one. Now it only takes 50% of your minions' health to heal you for 50% of your maximum health. So that's a really good trade-off. And actually, if you stack that with Purgatory, most of the time you're gonna be able to survive that Purgatory just by yourself, not even with a healer in you. So yeah, those two abilities together are really strong. Same with Death Siphon. Like with Death Siphon, I think that's how you pronounce it. On Purgatory, you could heal yourself through that because he heals for a lot, and survive that. Now, Death Siphon takes one death rune. It does 8,000 Shadow Frost damage, and it heals you for 100% of damage done. Actually, does a lot of damage. Does a lot of damage, and it heals you for a lot too. Then Conversion is really good. I actually tried this while tanking and I didn't like it very much. I still go for the cooldown Death Pack for tanking. But Conversion, I haven't really been able to try this in a real life situation. Like I've tried it against dummies and stuff like that, but I haven't really tried it out because Death Siphon sounds so much better to me. But I will have to try Conversion out. I'm not sure in what situation would be the best, but I know that it's pretty good. Then in level 75 tier we have Blood Tap, Runic Empowerment, and Runic Corruption, which are all have to do with your runes. So Blood Tap is different. It's not just Blood Tap. You don't just get a death rune from a blood rune. Each damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike generates 2 blood charges, up to a maximum of 12 charges. Blood Tap consumes 5 charges to activate a random fully depleted rune as a death rune. So yeah, that's really good. Why? Because you can save your blood charges and you can use this when you need it. So it's for very situational stuff, for very strategic gameplay. But for those that don't wanna for those that their playstyle is not so strategic, or that like randomness more, will take these other two. Runic Empowerment. When you land a damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike, you have a 45% chance to activate a random fully depleted rune. Actually, this made gameplay really fun for me while tanking. I haven't tried this for PvP. I always go for Runic Corruption. For Runic Corruption, when you land a damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike, you have a 45% chance to reactivate Runic Corruption. Activate Runic Corruption, increasing your rune regeneration rate by 100% for 2.63 seconds. And I think that's changed by haste, so it lasts longer depending on your haste. I believe, I'm not completely sure that. I'm assuming that just because it's not just a flat 3 second, it says 2.63 seconds, so it's probably modified by haste. So let's get on to the glyphs. On the top we have Anti-Magic Shell, which I talked about this, that it absorbs all the damage up to the absorption limit. This is really powerful and it's almost a must. I would say it's a must for tanking, and I also use it for PvP a lot. Chains of Ice. Your Chains of Ice also cause frost damage and additional damage. This is the same thing that it used to. Dark Simulacrum is a really good, really cool new glyph. It reduces the cooldown of Dark Simulacrum by 30 seconds and increases its duration by 4 seconds. This is great. Any smart caster or healer is gonna wait for Dark Simulacrum to fall off. The normal Dark Simulacrum persists for 8 seconds. They will wait for it to fall off, or try to CC or some. No, not always. Yeah, but a smart person will try to make it so it falls off. Okay, it's not always the case that it will fall off, that they can. They're gonna probably have to do something anyway, especially if you put in a lot of pressure. But this will make it so it's deadly for them to wait for it to fall off. It's deadly because it's gonna be a 12-second. So this is a 30-second cooldown. It lasts 12 seconds. It's great. I think I'm gonna use this for PvP every time. The Glyph of Dark Core is the same thing. Whenever you get a killing blow, your Death Strike heals you for 20% of your health. Death and Decay is a really cool new glyph. It reduces the movement speed of enemies within your Death and Decay by 50%. Death Coil, your Death Coil is now usable on allies. When cast on a non-undead ally, Death Coil shrouds them with a protective barrier that absorbs up to 6,000 damage. This is really cool. I haven't tried it out, but I will. Death Grip increases the yards, just like the old one. Enduring Infection. Your disease are undispellable, but their damage dealt is reduced by 30%. I don't think this is worthless at all. I think this is actually worthless. Icebound Fortitude reduces the cooldown on your Icebound Fortitude by 50%, but it also reduces its duration by 75%. I had to try this out and see how it is. I'm not sure about it. I'm not sure, but I had to try it out. It could be good to use it more of a defensive ability. Use it more for a get out of stun ability. Icy Touch. Your Icy Touch dispels one helpful magic effect from the target. This is an awesome, amazing glyph that any PvPer should use. But there's also situations when you're not gonna need this. For example, if you're playing with a mage, with a hunter, with someone that, or a shaman that can dispel stuff, that you don't need to waste your runes with this. There's better glyphs for this. But for like random battlegrounds gameplay, world PvP, this is amazing, especially to dispel those mage freaking ice barriers. Mind Freeze reduces the cooldown on your Mind Freeze by 2 seconds, but it also raises cost by 20 ring power. This is absolutely worthless. Do not take this for PvP. I don't know why you were taking for PvE either, because what's better than having a free kick? Outbreak. I've been using this for tanking actually, and I've been liking it a lot. Your Outbreak spell no longer has a cooldown, but now it costs 40 running power, and I think it's an awesome trade-off. But to each its own. You guys see if you like that. Glyph of Pestilence increases the radius just like the old one. Shifting Presence is a really cool new glyph that you retain 70% of your runic power when you switch presences. Now I think we are gonna be switching presences a lot more than before in PvP, so this is gonna be really good. But this is the kind of glyphs that I say this should be a minor, this shouldn't be a major. Strangulate increases the silence duration by 2 seconds when using a target who's casting a spell, just like the old one. It's still really good, and I think in some situations you are gonna take this over other glyphs. Unholy Command immediately finishes the cooldown of your death grip upon dealing a killing blow to a target that grants experience of honor. This is actually really good for leveling. This is a really cool leveling glyph, but for PvP I don't think it's a very good trade-off, because you're not sure that you're gonna get a killing blow all the time. But again, this should probably be a minor. In my opinion, should be a major. Holy Frenzy is a really cool glyph. Causes your Holy Frenzy to no longer deal damage to the affected target. This is really good for soloing, for soloing, for battlegrounds, for PvE, but it's not good for arena, because Unholy Frenzy is often used to get people out of CC, often used for that. So you want to have that damage, on it. Dancing Rune Weapon is, I don't think this is a worth getting glyph, not even for tanking. just because you have so much threat generation now. Increases your threat generation by 100% while dancing rune weapon is active, but reduces its damage time by 25%. I don't like that. Not even for tanking, I don't like that, because really I have threat all the time, and if I lose threat for a second, I have an 8-second taunt and a 25-second taunt. So I don't need that. I don't need this. Okay. Pillar of Frost is the same thing than the old one. I don't think anyone ever takes this. Does anyone take this? Please tell me. I don't think so. Like, who would take that? Vampiric Blood, I think, is the same thing that it used to be. Increases the bonus healing received by your Vampiric Blood when your Vampiric Blood is active by an addition of 15%, but your Vampiric Blood no longer grants you health. So it's also like it's like a good trade-off, but I don't think it's good enough to take it. Like, maybe if it increases your healing received even more than that, then that would be cool. Like, if it was like 30%, then yes, that's an awesome trade-off. Yes, I will get that glyph, but maybe that would be too good. Who knows? Then the minor glyphs, I'm gonna let you guys choose for yourself. My favorite one, though, I'm gonna tell you my favorite one is Geist. So you raise that spell, summons a Geist or Geist or however you want to pronounce that instead of a ghoul, and it's really cool because I really like those undead. So this is it for the Death Knight. We took a long time on this one. I had a lot to talk about and a lot to find out because I didn't get into the beta. So don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Until the next one, good hunting.